episode 8 of Game Night Date Night. So this video series is in collaboration with Games and Couples. Now, Games and Couples do amazing things. One of the things that they do is they concentrate on couple counseling, utilizing board game as a main tool for couples to be able to connect, stay connected, reconnect, and so on. Now, they've also created a rating system to help people decide which game would best suit them and their needs. And this rating system is on 3 different aspects. The first one is on conversation and connection potential. Now, keep in mind, 1 is not bad, 5 is not good. It depends on where you are as a couple. So some games are very busy. There's a lot going on. Maybe it's story driven, so you got to listen to the story, kind of move along and that sort of stuff, so that there's very little opportunity to hold a conversation and find out about each other's day. While some game are a little bit more relaxed, more mellow, and it's just kind of slowly taking your turn doing what you need to do in the game, and those type of games would have a lot more opportunity for having a conversation. The second thing that they rate on as well is for getting to know you. So how much will a game allow you to learn from your partner? So when COVID came along, all of a sudden we're spending a lot more time at home, and we're spending a lot more time with our partners, and it could be that we had grown apart, or maybe it's a new relationship. So having an opportunity to getting to know each other or getting to know each other again is something that's more important. Or maybe you've been together for years and years and years, and this is not a big important aspect for you. And the last thing that they rate on is for potential for hurt feelings and conflict. Some games are cooperative, where you team up and kind of work together towards achieving your goal. While some game is really about taking the other person down so that you can become victorious. And, those type of games might have higher potential for creating hurt feelings. So depending on where you are in your relationship, maybe things are touchy already, so you don't want to kind of flare that up if you don't have to. Or maybe you're looking at working on conflict resolution in a controlled environment. In this case, a higher rating here might be better for you. So every week we have the game of the week, and in this video series we kind of review those games, talk a little bit more about them. So the first one that we talked about was Point Salad. Now, Point Salad is a very simple, easy to play card game. It plays fairly quickly. So it's a neat, easy one to get to the table, even if you have a busy schedule. So let's have a look at the rating system. So for conversation, connection and conversation potential, I'm putting this one a 5 out of 5. This is a very simple game. You draw 2 cards, or you draw a points card, and then you'll play the cards on your own tableau. So there's very little going on, so that holding a conversation while playing this game should be fairly easy. For the getting to know you, I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. It's not a game that will have great revealing moments, but if you're questioning the decision that your partner is doing, like, okay, you're really doing all carrots, you're not going to take any of the vegetables, then it'll be interesting to kind of see the decisions that they are making. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 1 out of 5. You're building your own group of vegetables here. They're building their own groups of vegetables, so there's very little potential for conflict here. And this is what the game looks like. So you have 3 piles, and underneath each one it'll be point face up. So there's 2 sides to the cards. You have the green side that has a white circle that'll have different ways of scoring. And then on the other side, there's a vegetable. Tomato, a lettuce, a pepper, a cabbage. I believe there's an onion as well out there. And then there's a few different vegetables. So on your turn, you have the option of either taking 2 vegetable that is in the middle board there, or to pick up one of the point card. Now, when you take a vegetable, let's say you take 2 vegetables, depending, you have the option of taking it from the 3 different rows. You will replace those cards from the points card, which can get a little bit frustrating. So maybe you're collecting carrots, and that points card will give you nice amount of points for each carrot you own, but somebody went ahead and took the onion, and now that carrot point has to be flipped to become a vegetable, and it's gone forever. You do have the option, if you take the point side of the card, you do have the option at one point during the game to flip it to its vegetable side, but you cannot flip it back. And it's interesting, you're just going through collecting the vegetables, collecting the points card, and some of these points card will have negative points. Like, hey, well, you get -2 points for every cabbage you have. It's like, ooh, okay, well, I'm going to avoid this one, and maybe it turns out you end up having to pick it up and you have a lot of cabbage. So you're just going around till all the cards have been picked up, and then you tally up your points. Whoever has the most point is the winner. It's neat to play at the table because it's such a nice, bright color, so it has great table presence. As I mentioned, very simple to play, and it's just a lot of fun. Then the following week, we talked about land versus sea. So this is mostly a two-player game where one player plays as the land, one player plays as the sea, and you're placing tile on this map that you're building together, trying to create clusters of land or sea and close them in so that you can score them. For conversation and connection potential, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. There's a little bit more thinking going on because you're kind of looking at the map, trying to figure out where that can fit in, but still fairly easygoing game, so it's not very difficult to hold a conversation while playing this game. For getting to know you, I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. They have their tiles. The tiles are double-sided. You don't see what's on the other side. You don't discuss what you're trying to do either, so it's fairly, it's like they have their objective, but they're not going to let you in on it because then you could go and mess it up. So it's less likely to kind of learn a whole lot about your partner while playing this game. And then for hurt feelings and conflict, I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. They can place a tile that would kind of mess up what you were hoping to accomplish. But in the grand scheme of things, you're placing tile, kind of trying to create your cluster. So it's not something that creates tons of conflict. And this is how it looks like. So you have the tiles. You have 2 tiles on your kind of that you have access to at all times. As I mentioned, they are double-sided. Some cards will have a symbol that allow you to play twice. Some will have a symbol that will allow you to steal a tile from the other player. But now when you steal the tile from the other player, you only get to see the one side, so you don't know what's on the other side. When you close down a cluster of either land or sea, depending on what you are, excuse me, you will tally the points. So basically you get a point for every tile that is in your cluster. And then if you're the one who closed down the cluster and there's little cross signs either in the water or in the land, depending on which side you're playing, you'll get to claim those as well and kind of tally up those scores for that. You keep playing until you have all the pies have been played, and then whoever has the most point is the winner. And then the next week we did House of Danger. Now, if you've ever read the book that is kind of create your own adventure, and you would come across and says, okay, you could do this and you could do this. Now, if you decide to do this, go to this page. And if you decide to do this, go to that page. This is basically what this game is. It was interesting. So I've played just the first chapter for now. You have your level, that kind of your psychic level, and then your danger meter, and then it's all the cards. And then if you start with chapter 1, and then you have the title card that stays on top, and you kind of grab the card underneath and you read it, and it reads like a book. And then it says, okay, you can do this or you can do this. And then depending on what you decide, it'll be like, hey, go grab card number 3 or go grab card number 4. And then you'll read this one, and then you kind of decide what you want to do on that. It was neat. It was very interesting. You'll come across items that you can keep. You'll come across different things. And I gotta say, in chapter 1, we died twice. So you will die, but it's somehow the story just kind of keeps going. But it was comical. I really enjoy the story aspect of it, and it was neat. Now, for conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 1 out of 5. You're following through a story. You don't really have a whole lot of time of catching up on each other's day. Getting to know you, I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. I mean, the decisions are not very logical. It's kind of like option A or option B. And there's not a whole lot to kind of decide what makes one option better than the other. It's really kind of 50-50 chance basically. So not tons and tons on learning from the other person, but you can, it can come up with reasons like, okay, let's do this, or how they react if they die, and that sort of stuff. So there's a little bit of opportunity for learning from your partner in that way. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5 because it is a cooperative game. You're working together towards the same goal. The only conflict that could arise is if, like, okay, let's do this option. No, I want to do this option, and then trying to decide which option to do. This is just what the game looks like. So there's multiple chapters, and as I mentioned, I've only gone through the first chapter so far. You can see we had a pocket knife and water. We did also end up finding some batteries, but I don't know how that's gonna play in yet. I think there's a flashlight coming or something. We'll have to wait and see. Next one I have is Are You Normal? This is a neat game, and honestly, this is one that I would kind of pull out. Like I pulled out when I was on my first date with Lee. Well, not my first date, I guess. One of the early dates with Lee. My sister borrowed this one when she was on first dates as well. It's kind of like our official dating game, but it's just a really neat, funny game. Now, for conversation and connection potential, this one is a 5 out of 5. This is a game that has all bunch of questions for you to answer. And actually, I have it right here. So here's one. Do you believe in life after death? So, you can ask your partner this question. And then it's kind of interesting because they're like, okay, they'll have their answer. Now, you got to vote as well, whether they're going to be voting yes or no. Now, this can be in a group setting as well, so everybody would vote. So it's like, I think they're going to say yes. I think they're going to say no. And you kind of you have the card that you would put down to kind of decide what you think they're going to be answering. And then you also get to vote on what the percentage of the norm would be as well. How many people normally say yes to this question, and you kind of vote on what you think the percentage of that is going to be. So for the getting to know you, I'm giving this one a 5 out of 5 as well. You learn lots from your partner on this one. And then for hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 1 out of 5. This is just all in good fun. And I'll show you so you have like those yes and no votes, and you have those color tokens to put on the percentage that you're guessing on. So in case you're interested, do you believe in life after death? 73% of people do. So it's just a neat, interesting game. And I've enjoyed this one quite a bit. Then the final game that we talked about this week was Rummikub. Now this one is an oldie for sure. Although I've only discovered this one personally a few years ago, and I loved it. Now you could play this game with a deck of cards for sure, but playing it with the Rummikub game with the tiles, the plastic tiles, is so satisfying to placing them and having that clunky bit that you're playing with. And the goal of the game is you're trying to get rid of all of your tiles and empty up your tray by putting combinations of either the same number in different colors or a run of the same color. And you're playing, kind of drawing a tile if you can't play. And then if you can play, you place the tiles on the table trying to get rid of them. And then once there's tile on the table, you can add to what's already on the table. Or you can rearrange as long as everything that is on the table is left in a legal combination. It's really neat. So for conversation and connection potential, I am giving this one a 5 out of 5. This is a fairly simple game. Now, it can get a little intricate when you're trying to think of how to kind of rearrange the combination, but this is definitely a game that you can hold a conversation while playing. The getting to know you, I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. Again, this is not a game that you would reveal what you're trying to do and what you're thinking. You're trying to kind of keep your position a little bit hidden here. Like you wouldn't be like, I'm really needing a 4. Like, because then if you're telling me this, I may not play a 4. So hurt feelings and conflict, I'm going to give this one a 1 out of 5. Basically, you're working with yourself to clear your board. There's very little that the other team or the other players can do to affect what you would do on your own. I mean, unless they play something that allows you to start adding to their own. But you don't tell them what you have on your tray, so they really don't affect your own play. And this is what it looks like. So you have all the tiles face down, and then you'll draw with 14 to start with. And then if you can't play, you would draw one, trying to create the combinations. And that was it for all the weeks that we talked about this month. If you want to follow us on Instagram, my Instagram page is Mel's_boardgame_room, as well as Games and Couples. On Facebook, my Facebook page is Mel and Friends Board Game Room, as well as Games and Couples Love in the Age of Board Game. And on YouTube, my YouTube channel is Mel's Board Game Room, and then we also have Games and Couples Love in the Age of Board Game. So be sure to stay tuned next month to see which game is the game of the week. Bye, everybody.